Happy September, Aries. This is Kapualani with your Pisces full moon, your girl and her moon, Pisces full moon reading. Let's see what's in store. All right, your message from the universe, Aries. Father of Wands. Okay, stay true to your goals and ideas. There's something here about really allowing yourself to look at the bigger picture, invest yourself to the process, and invest yourself in the sense to where you're opening up to the possibility potentials of what's ahead. Okay, don't get too, how shall I, distracted, by any of the, for whatever reason, I'm hearing mundane details like that are already starting to fade into the background. Whether this relates with the way that you've been doing things, connecting with people, applying yourself. I feel that it really has to do with goal setting, and it really has to do with, for something, it's something about rising above, rising to the occasion. So what will this full moon bring into your awareness? Yeah, transformation. There's going to be something of a shift. I mean, when is that not happening, Aries? But in this case, I'm present to, or hearing this message. There's going to be a shift occurring in some rather significant ways. And so this particular full moon, it's a definite surrendering to the bigger picture. There's a surrendering to a shedding of the past, but something about, again, not getting caught up in the details. So I feel like what's really happening, or what could potentially, how this energy might be manifesting, Aries, in your world, is there may be certain things, again, relationship, ways of being, ways of doing things, even certain material possessions that are starting to, I'm hearing the word deteriorate, because everything has been in a transition, a transformation of some sort, something of a chrysalis phase. And so when you emerge, right, from that cocoon, and just like with the snake shedding the skin, there are things to be left behind. There are things to be moved on from, and not in a callous way, but it's to say where you might be feeling a little bit stressed out, uncomfortable, or going, oh my God, what's going on? Like, I don't know what's going on. It's like rise above, look to the bigger picture, pop your head up. It's something about like, don't look so closely at details, like zoom out. There's something really about let what you don't have direct control over and what's already kind of fading out, let the universe guide you in terms of the natural transition of it all, the natural turning point, okay? And again, I'm hearing, for whatever reason, keep saying rise above, look at the bigger picture, search for that horizon. So what excuse me, we need to revisit. Yeah, foundations. Where have you originally invested yourself? Where, when you think back, and look what I said about all those details, there's a lot that is, again, with the closing of old cycles, opening of new cycles, and kind of this in between state of things, it's a little bit in flux. So in terms of focus, right? When you start off with the seed and start to grow, and then it's great, oh look, it's sprouting, and then all these other things, then just like you don't know what to look at next sometimes. And so again, when you get distracted, come to ground, get centered, go back to your point, your purpose, your core intention, the ground beneath your feet to stabilize. Okay, because it's kind of like, remember, you don't literally physically have wings in a way, or like, you know what I'm saying? So when you're climbing, don't forget, like, look down. There's something about look down And I don't know, because they're saying rise above, but keep yourself grounded. I suppose that's really it. Get to center, get to ground when everything around you starts to, whether it's growth, because the growth as well as the shedding, right? They kind of happen all at once, right? And so that's where, again, aligning yourself, getting centered, because it might feel a little like, I don't know why, but I'm hearing just kind of gooky or yucky or gritty in certain ways. So get grounded, get focused, get centered. Okay. Advice for a smooth full moon. Yep, grounded, focused, centered, your foundation. Apply yourself when it comes to building consistency in your routine. Look at your routine. Like I said, a lot has been stirred up. And so, in the process, right? When we first plant that seed, sure, it's one thing to, okay, we got a nice little moving and grooving rhythm going, a nice day to day routine. And then this happens and that happens, and these opportunities, and this grows and that grows, and this connection comes in, and that connection, comes in, and that, you know what I mean? So, suddenly, the juggling and the routine, it starts to kind of go wee. It feels like it's getting a little bit like that, right? And again, I feel like it sounds really silly, and forgive the analogies, with like, doing a little tune up, getting centered, monitoring and acknowledging not just your growth, but realizing also, and not to simplify or just kind of shrug it off, but that as you're starting to recognize how your day-to-day routine has changed, and just it's okay to shift, but you do need some sort of solid like day-to-day pattern or routine for you to keep to kind of recenter yourself, not forever, but just because it's like the wheels and the gears are getting a little bit loose, so we gotta like tighten up the screws and everything and get caught up with what has all evolved and changed, and again get back to center. Because whatever you've been developing, whatever goals you had set previously, it's not like, oh boom, all of a sudden here are the goals. And it does, there's been developments, but there's still a little bit of a journey underway. So that's again just the mindfulness of taking this time to like recalibrate and get centered and see that you are, much further along than you realize. And that's why you may have this advantage of kind of, ooh, okay, lean back and sit on your throne, like with the Father of Wands, but also have the strength of and the advantage of, again, seeing beyond, right? Seeing that higher point of view, or seeing the bigger picture. Okay. What sort of vacation is your soul craving? Yep. Ace of Wands. Look at these aces: clarity and a focal point. Gaining with this Father of Wands energy, it becomes a staff of stability and consistency. So rather than burning oneself out, right, realizing, oh, okay, I'm going to be tackling a mountain. That's kind of quite a distance. And, I'm not like that'd be wonderful if I could just boom, boom, hit it in a day. Like I feel energized and like I could do it. But, realistically at the end of the day, all of the motivation and ambition in the world isn't gonna push that engine up the hill if there's no gas. You know what I mean? Or if there's no specific clarity and direction, and the wheels are like, oh, So it's time to reset, recalibrate, refocus, and recenter your vision and yourself in lieu of the development, the growth, and the subtle changes that have happened and that have transpired thus far. Okay? So, all that stuff being said, Aries, please don't forget, check out your moon and rising signs for just a bit of extra insight, guidance, info, and visit with us, girlandhermoon.com, to book your own personal session. Okay, and so take care. Hi there, Taurus. This is Kapualani with your Girl on Her Moon Pisces full moon reading this month of September. Let's see what we've got, Taurus. Okay, Taurus, let's see what you need to hear from the universe this full moon. Ooh, listen to your instincts. Okay, I really get this significant connection to your higher self, your spirit guides, tapping your intuition, pulling you a bit more into a space of like being inquisitive, searching for answers, refining and possibly even validating certain intuitive hits or messages that you are getting. This might be a bit of an interesting full moon, I feel, Taurus. Like, there's some significant potential activations happening with your higher consciousness and in the way that you receive those messages and connect to and with your higher consciousness. Okay, so what will this full moon bring into your awareness? Okay, you can't escape what's right in front of you sometimes. So, this is part of the guidance here. Don't be afraid to go into the unknown and certain aspects of yourself, your psyche, your memories. I'm feeling that maybe might have been blocked or, just when we have certain situations that happen that we don't know how to process or deal with, especially like very, very, early on in life, right? It's not like we just like push it out or forget it because we want to. You know what I mean? It's a way of coping and surviving, and so there may be some things that you're being guided now gently and lovingly to acknowledge, but not to make you suffer, okay, babe? Not to make you kind of like sit in this puddle, because I know you, Taurus. You're like, what is the reason for this? You know what I mean? It's so that you can, wrap it up, that you can recover authentically, because you're not afraid of hard work, Taurus. You just need it to make sense. It has to have an actual like logical reason. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it, right? And so in this case, remember, whatever deeper, heavier feelings, emotions, memories, whatever the case, stuff might be coming up from this full moon, it's not to torture, torment you, or to get you to self-medicate in any kind of way, all right? It's for you to finally say, hey, you know what? I've come a long way. I've done a lot of the work. So what the heck's going on? It's like, oh, okay. It's just about that mindfulness. Call in that support. Acknowledge, hey, this happened or that happened, or I did this and I feel bad about it, but you know what? Like, I'm ready. Like, I've done the work, and it's okay. It's okay to acknowledge where there may have been instances of, like, for example, this is a little bit deep, but guilt and shame, stuff you still in the cookie jar, like, oh God, you know what I mean? Getting caught. It's okay to acknowledge these things happen. Forgive yourself. I know it sounds funny, but it's that for whatever reason, spirits, like, you can make it that simple, Taurus. Okay, so what you might need to revisit: fortitude. Okay, focus. What's your motivation? Listen to your higher self. Know your mind, your creative potential, your spirit. It's about really owning and knowing your spirit in regards to everything else that you might be up against in terms of distractions, in terms of how we compare and contrast ourselves to others, or to just even where we used to be in life or where we thought we would be at this point in life, kind of thing. There are these areas of addressing wounding and having the fortitude and the wherewithal to push through and to overcome. And I almost want to say, like, once and for all, where this cycle of the work is concerned, where you've really, again, looked at yourself and looked at your situations, and, or, you know what I mean, just with whatever, with whatever has come up. And again, just especially though, in acknowledging how far you've come and what efforts you put forth. So, at this point, remember, okay, that even if it feels like you might be up against the wall, for whatever reason, spirit's telling me, know that you always have that higher advantage in terms of just walking away, like, from the people, places, experiences that just are no longer serving you. You are being guided. Okay, so let's get some advice for smooth full moon. Yeah, Son of Swords. I'm hearing say for whatever reasons, like say what you need to say. This may be a time of really like cutting cords, cutting ties, cutting out for whatever reason, like negative past behaviors, ways of being, toxic patterns, relationships, da da da. I feel like you're just over it, Taurus. Like I'm really present to those horns, you know, where they say the bull and the horns and all that kind of stuff, and you're just kind of like your higher wisdom, higher self, your guides and all of and whatnot are kind of, I feel this sense of spirit kind of rallying, or just that rallying energy of your Taurus, sort of, yeah, that strength, you know, to push through, very present. And so I really feel like it's like trust your mental process, and but for whatever reason, it's just like remember how passionate you can be. So mind your words, especially, you know what I'm saying, to kind of like it's not necessarily oh just for your own good, but there's something there, Taurus, about lessons learned. Like you've made mistakes that you've already become aware of. There are things and lessons that you've already learned. Apply them. That's all. Okay, that's all. All right. What sort of downtime is your soul craving? Yeah. See, taking a look again at the bigger picture, stepping back, detaching, seeing things not just for what they are, but where I said take a moment to sort of pause here before rushing in that Son of Swords, right? Yeah. It's going to give you a higher vantage point. And just remember, Taurus, this isn't like a forever situation. It's just for the moment so that you can regain your foothold in terms of your focus, making sense of your circumstances and how far you've come. This is a period to really, again, detach from any feelings of competition, detach from even any feelings of withdrawal. Allow yourself to, for whatever reason, just like remove yourself, remove from any distractions, clarify your field of energy. You're getting a lot of intense downloads, I feel, through this full moon. So I feel like you might be very, very sensitive. And in that case, being around some static or other energies that are just not like woo calm or soothing for you, it's just not gonna do. Like you're better off just being like definitely alone and just going for a breather this full moon. But you know, at any rate, Taurus, I do feel that it heightens your abilities and your capacity to regain your foothold and your focus, especially where you may be feeling at a loss, or you may be feeling, you know, stuck, vulnerable, slowed down, not sure of a direction. There's gonna be an opportunity for you to pull back and gain that clarity. Okay, so check out your moon and rising signs as well for a bit of extra insight, and visit with us girlinnermoon.com. You know where to go, and just to book a personal session of your own as you wish. So take care until next time. Hello, Gemini. I hope this finds you doing well. This is Kapualani. I've got your girl and her moon September Pisces full moon reading here. Okay, Gemini, what do you need to hear from the universe? Son of Swords, assert yourself, but don't take any of the details or your audience, your who's listening, who's watching, for granted. It's fine for you to, you know, I hate to put it this way because it's a little bit rough, but where certain boundaries have been crossed and certain things need to just, you know, be put on blast, like sad but true that it just sometimes that happens. But there's something here, Gemini, where it's like, yes, like there's that part of you that's gonna be, you know what, I gotta have, I said, I'm done, I gotta say what I gotta say, whether you like it or not, blah blah, and here it is. The thing is, I really feel this little sort of asterisk on the side, this little kind of caution, flashy mark on the side here for you, Gemini. Mind your audience. There may be like innocent beings, whether they're children or they're, and it's not that you would say anything necessarily so, what's the word? Really cutting or like, not cutting or cruel, but well, whatever the case may be, I just feel like there may be people around that just don't need to hear that don't need to see that side of you, that maybe you wouldn't want them to see that side of you, not because you're trying to hide anything, but because the people that need to hear what you have to say, that need to be dealt with, there's a space for it. There's a time and a space for it. So mind your audience. Kind of like if you're gonna have a disagreement, don't do it in the grocery store. Like take it to a space where it's like, listen, you can really just say, you know what I mean? It's just like, and it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. Do it wherever you want, but it's about you and how you're going to feel after the fact. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Cause I really could care less. No judgments here. It's like, hey, do what you got to do. But for you, and in terms of how, again, you may feel after the fact, like, oh gosh, like, I don't regret saying it, but I just wish I had said it under, like, in a different space. It's kind of like that. So something very specific there, okay, Gemini. But what will this full moon bring into your awareness? Okay. Yeah, okay. I feel like emotionally, I get this sense of imbalance. I get kind of like being on the ocean and like bobbing on the ocean for some reason, Gemini. So mind yourself, because I feel like you might be in a very openly imaginative, creative space. Like these are very like dreamy sort of vibes that I'm getting. And that's not a bad thing at all. But it's again, mind the time and the place, and you know what I mean, there's a time and a space for all of it, but it's just for your own benefit. For example, if you are a creative person and the creative inspiration strikes just kind of at an inopportune moment, just realize, oh my gosh, I'm having a moment of creative inspiration and I'm in the wrong place. I just need a moment. I got to remove myself, step away, put this down on a notepad, and I'll be right back. Don't just like sink into it, because I feel like it may be very tempting to lean into that sort of, the water here really could just suck you. I just feel like with the air and it's just very much like getting caught up and swept out to sea in a way. And in this case, at nighttime. So, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to wonder like, oh, where's land? So pay attention. There's something here about don't get caught up in good fun. It's okay to have fun, or it's okay to like, just be spontaneous, whatever the case may be, let loose. But again, for your own good, have an anchor point, have something that's going to ground you. What we need to revisit, yeah, not overthinking. And also there's something about cycling out of, I see and I feel, rather, excuse me, because they're kind of shifting the energies. There's an opportunity to recognize certain ways that maybe you're kind of outgrowing stress patterns, or ways that maybe you dealt with stress or anxiety before, because you're doing work. It's not like you're just kind of like blindly out there just living your life. I mean, that happens, but for the most part, right? Especially if you're watching this, you're likely working on your self-healing journey in some sort of way, or your spiritual journey in some sort of way. So this is an opportunity to take a look at how you've grown, like where maybe you hadn't had the confidence to assert yourself, where maybe you pulled away and like, all right, you kind of kept things to yourself and just kind of, hashed it out on your own and then moved on. But in this case, like now, maybe you're saying, hey, you know what? I got to start asserting myself. I got to start setting boundaries. I don't want to be like doing this to myself anymore. I don't want to be associating with this kind of energy anymore. Things like that. So again, there may be a lot of tempting like energies to connect with, and some of them may kind of bring you back to like past feelings or memories that are not bad, but they also are not totally healthy, you know. So that's where it's like, again, ground and realize what all is happening, that this is about acknowledging what you are preparing to cycle out of, all of how you've grown and evolved, so that you can really start to acknowledge and consciously see your own shifting like ways and perception, you know what I mean? So let's get some advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah, I keep hearing, for whatever reason, get to work, assert yourself, apply the foundation. In this case, where you, I'm hearing, have made your mind up, where you really feel aligned and a bit more clear in terms of your next steps. For whatever reason, I'm hearing like where it is likely going to be pertaining to career, professional goals, whatnot. You know, it could be just other areas, of course, but just that was coming up when I was focusing on this devil energy. But again, advice for a smooth full moon: get to work, ground yourself, channel and make use of any like busybody energies that come up, like things, energy with your air that may kind of like, you know, like, what do I do? What do I do? All this mental energy, you got to channel it, okay? Channel it. So whether it's going for a walk, okay, like a long walk, going for a safe, healthy hike, you know, that kind of thing. Or it's, again, you have creative inspiration and you need that time to just hash things out, okay? Or just kind of to take that moment and discipline yourself to hash it out, okay? So, what type of vacation is your soul craving? Yeah. Stability, focus, grounding, a space to truly recognize and embody and I almost want to say like take ownership, not only of the gains and the successes that you literally physically manifested thus far in your life, but how it is actually benefiting you for, you know what I'm saying, the future and times to come. And this really, I feel, leans into the wealth and stability that you're focusing on for your future, you know, long-term future and stability, and for that matter. So, you know, take that time to, again, like I said, ground, focus on not just, oh gosh, you know, what you have, for this sense of, oh, you're, you know, if you're feeling like in any space of lack, but it's really to recenter and not get too carried away or caught up with these kind of lunar energies that may very much, again, induce a bit of that, like I said, bringing you more into a state of, I almost want to say emotional vulnerability, you know, to be honest, because it makes you, I almost feel like you may find yourself questioning what you have, and wondering like, you know, is it enough, and or will it be enough, and or am I doing enough, that sort of thing. By just taking a moment, breathe, let yourself realize, okay, like I said, because you have been doing your work, you've noticed your patterns, okay, you know how to channel it at this point. You know, say, okay, I'm just getting worked up, I'm feeling anxious, I'm getting stressed out, so I got to get clear so I know where to just take action, and how I can really resolve this conflict. So, all right, Gemini, hang in there. Check out your moon and rising signs as well for some deeper insight. Visit usgirlandhermoon.com to schedule your own personal session. We're here for you. And otherwise, have a great full moon. What is up, Cancer? This is Kapualani. I've got your Girl and Her Moon September Pisces full moon reading here. Okay, Cancer, your message from the universe this full moon: go with the flow. There's new opportunities, seeds of potential, ideas that I feel like you may already be presenting themselves to you. You may already be or have been. I don't know why, but I feel like holding space to seed, holding space to take that step, holding space to engage that path, that journey. There are going to be new possibility potentials, new pathways revealing themselves with this full moon, in various ways. Okay. So, where you have been, like I said, waiting and kind of calling in new opportunities, new beginnings, whether it's relationships, career, just like social, whatever the case may be. Okay. Cancer, even earning income, I feel, because there's something there with new ways of making money that may also present themselves. Okay, this full moon. So, what will this full moon bring to your awareness? Aha. Father of Wands, nice. The long term, the bigger picture, being actually not just creatively inspired, like where I say, hey, there's this, for example, the path revealing itself. Here comes the motivation and the inspiration to say, hey, of all of the opportunities, this look good, this one look good, that one kind of look pretty chill. But I think, there's an activation here happening where, oh yeah, that's the one, that aha feeling, the one where you can really feel your spirit calling you to want to commit, to want to embody, to want to follow through with like this one versus those others. Okay. So what will, again, this will bring to your awareness. Also, it should feel like where you might have been just, again, whatever you've been waiting for, the clarity, the activation, the nudge ahead, the green light. I feel that like lining up for you. Okay, Cancer. All right. We need to revisit. Stress, Ten of Swords. Let it, I've heard it when I opened up with this Daughter of Pentacles here, and then let it flow. This is a situation, whatever it is that you might be addressing, dealing with, is something to simply take day by day. Take it moment by moment. Don't drive yourself crazy with the details. Step away and realize where you may be torturing yourself unnecessarily, just for your own good. You're very concerned about lining up, again, I'll forgive the word again, but details. You got this, okay? And in this case, whatever it is that you're approaching isn't something where logic or planning details are really going to matter or get you through anything right now. So remember, how far you've come in terms of how you've grown and dealt with those types of circumstances or situations before, because it's Ten of Swords. It's just reflecting on endings and beginnings. If you know how you kind of tend to react in any particular situation, that's where you start to kind of separate yourself, step away, take a breath, and say, okay, I'm just going to reset, give myself a moment, let things reveal themselves before kind of like freaking out about the whole thing, So, advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah, like I said, flow. I also want to say, there's, like I said, those new beginnings, okay? Something about the way that this particular full moon is going to be shifting energies, maybe because it's that Pisces, with the that kind of water energy for you, that it may be a bit more malleable, even though we're getting a little bit of that Ten of Swords energy, so to have a smooth full moon, connect to your water element, get out of your mind, get into your heart, okay? And acknowledge where there truly are new beginnings and new cycles. Those are times where you kind of just have to let things reveal themselves. You have worked your way up to this point to get to this point, to get to this path. All right, don't torture yourself. Enjoy it. Let yourself say, oh, okay, you've been in the desert, for example, trying to get to that wide open ocean or whatever, that lake, that stream, that river, and you've made it. Now just take a load off, okay? Speaking of which, let's see what type of downtime your soul may be needing. Yep, step by step, focus on the moment, being present, engaging where you're at. So, like for example, when you go to sit down for a meal, really enjoy the food. Focus on what you're eating. Focus on your body and how you're, like if you're really, really hungry and all of a sudden, like, wow, that tastes so good. And I realized how just when I ate that, man, my brains, or whatever, I just suddenly felt so much better. But really listen to your body, really pay attention to, where you may be, for example, learning a new skill, because we're opening things up with the Daughter of Pentacles. There is definitely, like I said, a new journey or path that's revealing itself to you. So this is time to take the time. This is the time to engage the process, to say, oh, wow, look at this. I don't know what this is, but it looks really cool. And really taking the time to study it, to look at it, and not just, for the sake of staring at it, looking at it, but in some ways allow yourself to connect to that feeling. Like when we say the flow, like when you hit that ocean, when you hit that water, as you know, that's, so much of the time, right? Get the camera out, take a photo, and then you're done. So, forget the camera. Be present to the river. Be present to the water. Be present to how your body is feeling. As like you start to realize, wow, I'm just like suddenly the stress is just melting away. You know what I mean, Cancer? So I feel that I'm totally for that, for you. So check out your moon and rising signs, get some added insight for this particular full moon, and go to our website, girlundermoon.com, as well to schedule your own personal session. So have a great full moon. Until next time. Thanks so much. Leo, hey there, Kapualani here. I've got your girl and her moon, Pisces, full moon reading for the month of September. Let's see what we've got, Leo. All right. Leo, your message from the universe. This full moon, yes, the sun's coming up. There may be I know, right? It's like, this is a great positive card. I'm like, dun. Just kidding. When we've got such, finally, like, I feel this feeling pulling the lid off, things being revealed, opportunities and pathways, finally being illuminated, clarity in terms of where to go, what to do, what's your motivation here. Not only new directions, okay, but because I just am so present to the sun being that ruling planet for you, Leo, I really feel these gateways of possibility, potential, where joy and even, certain spontaneous things, opening up in terms of what this full moon might be unlocking. And, again, as a message, take advantage of those joyful moments and really engage and really be present to them. Really celebrate any accomplishments in terms of achievements where your health especially is concerned, okay? Because I'm so present to that sun with the life force as well. So what will this full moon bring to your awareness, Leo? Like I said, there's things with choices, direction, and I kind of did that pause, like dun early on. Sometimes what I get this feeling, okay, certain opportunities that you may have been waiting on, I don't know, I get this feeling, have you felt like maybe there was something looming, something that it's just that you're just not seeing, right? That it should be staring you right in the face, Leo, for whatever reason. That feeling of like waiting or knowing, because I feel that's like you've almost been waiting for something to drop, something positive to present itself, something different than what you're looking at to reveal itself. You've been waiting and holding out because in some way, right, some part of you is not, okay, sun's eventually going to come out. My options are eventually going to evolve and change, right? And so I feel like you're going to get an answer one way or another, whether there is an actual opportunity that reveals itself that you weren't seeing, or it's just realizing, no, what you're looking at is what it is. So just go ahead and make do with it. It's okay. You know, there's it's not any kind of like harsh judgment. It's just about, I feel, validating and clarifying a feeling or a vibe once and for all. You know what I mean? So again, if you've been sort of waiting for like, you know, like, okay, is this really what it is? Or is there something more? Is this what it really is? Or is there something more? Your head and your heart, you know, where you may have felt a little bit confused or like you might be playing tricks on yourself, it's going to become clear. Okay. So what will you need to potentially revisit? Okay. I'm actually hearing your intuitive instincts and also your emotional energy bodies, gaining clarity over what had been maybe putting you into a state of confusion or distraction in the first place. Okay. I also get something in terms of evolving in regards to your maturity, and I'm just going again to emotional, like intuitive, empathic abilities and perceptions, cleaning up your energy body, going into the space, and realizing how truly sensitive you are, Leo, and how you're affected. Like with water, I think of when something, you know, hits it, either if it's a pebble or a rock, it ripples. And if it's something funky, then it gets like funky itself. It gets murky. So you yourself, you know what I mean, might be feeling a little bit blocked or whatever the case. So again, clarifying something is becoming clear, something to where it didn't make sense, to where maybe you hadn't grown into that perception or into that space of being able to refine or clarify, aha, that's what it is, you know. There's a development taking place here, and there's also again a focus and a need to potentially cleanse your energy body. Okay, so advice for a smooth full moon. Okay, focus on actionable, tangible steps. I'm getting again with purification with fire and life force. Where things have felt stagnant, where you have felt again like you've had to sort of be on pause for whatever reason, there's that ignition, that activation, that spark, that aha of a direction, of a focal point, of a step to initiate. Okay, so don't hesitate. Again, where you've been waiting for an actionable step, where you've been waiting for the clarity and the direction, this full moon is going to support you in unlocking that. Okay, and also providing you with kind of that energy and again that aha sense of things, to know, you know, which way to go and what is best for you, what's aligned for you. All right, what kind of vacation is your soul craving? Moving on. Also, I feel like completing and tying up loose ends once and for all, recognizing where there had been maybe some emotional wounding or, you know, just past trauma, things like that, that had been unresolved, where you have been doing the work, where you have been kind of in it and applying yourself. This again, there's that space to purify, to realign, to, I almost want to say, like, in some ways, give yourself a space to reset. You know, like I said, with this Ace of Wands, it's a focal point and a direction. And so in this case, where there may have been stagnation, you know, even though we're not jumping for joy, like, yeah, let's go for it, it's a space where we can at least start focusing on those life force energies, like warming things up, right? Warming things up a little bit. So take a load off in a way, be excited that there is a focal point coming, because I feel like things, this feels a little bit like stagnated energy, and now that like things are finally getting fired up again, but you don't need to rush. You want to give the gears, you want to give your energy body time to sort of get moving, get circulating again. All right, so don't push, just be with it, but overall take it one step at a time. And honestly, even if it's, if it serves you well, if it serves you well, sorry, Leo, put on your sunscreen and go and actually get some vitamin D, spend some time in the sun, spend some time in nature, okay? But visit with your moon and rising signs for some extra guidance and insight. And take a look at our website, girlinnermoon.com, to see if there's any other way that we can continue to support you so you can book your own personal session. So take care, Leo. Till next time. Hello, Virgo. This is Kapualani. I've got your September Pisces full moon reading here. Your girl on her moon full moon reading. So let's see what's ahead, Virgo. All right, Virgo. And if you're wondering why I didn't stop and pause and pull those cards, it's because I was not guided to. Okay. So let's see what you need to hear from the universe. The Emperor. All right. Pause. Take a look at the plans that you've made. Get caught up with where you're at and realize, in terms of the grand scheme of things, divine time and order is truly at hand. Where you are aligning yourself, the goals that you've already sort of implemented, or, the steps that you've been taking to achieve and accomplish certain goals and things. This is saying continue to sustain and maintain what you're doing, okay? You're starting to gain an advantage. You're starting to gain the upper hand. And not only that, Virgo, but I feel like you're starting to feel it. And you're actually starting to like realize it and embody it as well. So, for you, especially with this Emperor energy, like it should be pretty empowering, okay? And it should help you kind of feel that boost of confidence. What will this full moon bring into your awareness? Looking at these from a different perspective. All right. And patience. Both of these energies with the Emperor and the Hangman are really about patience and the bigger picture. Taking a look at, I'm also hearing your reserves for some reason. Something tells me, Virgo, that you've come a long way in your efforts. And so now's the time to sort of not just, slow down, but be with where you are. There's a turning point that is approaching. You probably feel it. You're probably like aware in some way of like a vibe going on around you. This is where, again, you're likely going to find a benefit in keeping to yourself, taking a look at things from the ground up, being very practical in terms of your steps and in terms of risk taking. This isn't really going to be a time where you will be inclined to take risks, okay? So what will you need to revisit? Okay. Interesting, what came to mind, which doesn't what I would generally relate this Four of Wands with, but it's kind of like the bigger picture, where you're at and with how far you've come. Being that you kind of feel like you're finally coming to a position, being comfortable again, feeling like you might be at having a bit more of a vantage point in terms of your personal feelings of stability. This energy of the Four of Wands It's almost like I see you being in a space to start to open up to your imagination, your creative imagination, and the possibilities of what could be, based on even, you know, where you've already been, what you've already experienced, or some of the steps that you've already taken. For example, like how I had mentioned goals that you're working toward and things like that. In terms of a revisitation, this is that inspiration. You know, these are a bit more serious, a bit more withdrawn, on pause. This is that fire. You know, you want to kind of keep a nice warm spark, a joyful, creative, motivational space around you. So I feel like having like music that's going to keep you going and uplift you in some way, and or whatever type of, I would relate more to music, something that just keeps you kind of going, something that stimulates your creative energy in terms of getting your body moving, whether it's like, oh, okay, well, you know how you're like, oh yeah, I want to clean the house, but you're just like, oh, not motivated. You put on some music, the music gets you moving. Something like that, okay? All right. Advice for a smooth full moon. Okay, breathe, take a load off. Because you may be in a bit more, like practicality wise, a bit more of an accomplished space mentally, you might be feeling a little bit cooped up. That's where I'm saying, like, get out there, do something, and not like crazy, but when it comes to just moving your body, getting your energy flowing and not getting caught up in your mind. Let yourself take a breather and decompress. I mean, it doesn't get any more complicated than that in this case, especially because when I'm focusing on these, like the Emperor and the Hangman, I just think about the heaviness and just the seriousness, or being stoic, if that makes sense, but not necessarily feeling that on the inside, because it's just like, oh gosh, what next? It's like this pause will only last for so long, and then things are going to change again, so that's where it's saying, hey, like, go blow off some steam, like in a healthy way. Do something if you haven't like hung out with a friend in a bit or whatnot, you know what I mean? If you're not kind of wanting to isolate anymore, that sort of thing, go out and do something healthy and recreational. Okay, that being said, what type of downtime, what type of vacation is your soul craving? Yep, get together, have fun, like, if and where it resonates for you to get together with one or two friends, people, family, whatnot, to go do something. Like I said, like go on a hike, whatever the case may be. It sounds silly, but I feel like you might need this, Virgo. And, that energy, it helps to ground. When we do like housework, when we do landscaping, things like that, or with the yard, for example, you do yard work and things. When you go hiking, when you spend time in nature, it's grounding. And for you as an earth sign, it's especially going to benefit you. Okay, so if you don't even care, it's like, I can't handle being with other people right now, then you know what, babe, don't do it. Just engage yourself as collaboration cards. So you just do something, even if it's like for you, in your own way, working on your own projects, like a long-term sort of goal or thing that's small for you, like whether it's a hobby, forgive me, I was trying to find the right words, going out there and fulfilling a hobby, or whatnot, just something to help stimulate you and kind of keep you busy while you might be waiting for that cake in the oven to finish baking, so check out your moon and rising signs for some extra guidance and insight, and visit with us, girlundermoon.com, Virgo, to schedule your own personal session. So take care and have a blessed full moon. Hey Libra, this is Kapualani, and I've got your Girl and Her Moon September Pisces full moon reading here. Let's see what's in store. All right, Libra, let's get your message from the universe this full moon. Okay, things are looking up. I feel like I almost want to tell you to turn your gaze, your attention up. Libra, have hope, have faith in your dreams, have faith in the visions, the creative ideas, even potentially certain dreams that you may have had, may be having recently and or around this full moon. Okay, there are things that the universe, your guides, your higher self, they're trying to sort. It's like this trickle down of inspiration and bits of insight to support your growth, to support you in terms of aligning and clarifying, hey, what is motivating and inspiring me at this time? You know, what's motivating and inspiring you at this time? Okay, Libra. But keeping in mind also not to attach to anything too significantly, but to reflect, okay? To ponder, to reflect, and to remember that it's in the present moments and in the actionable steps that we take here and now that put the wheels in, put things into motion, okay, in terms of unlocking those insights and bringing to life those potentialities. So let's see what this full moon brings to your awareness, Libra. Connection to your instincts, to that sacred feminine aspect. The high priestess reflects as self-discipline. Like I said, ponder, reflect, clarify, and align. You will know what you want when you see it. It's kind of like, are you hungry? Yeah, but I don't really know what I want right now. And then you go to like a food court and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that looks like, nah, not that, not that. Or you know what I mean? So in this case, there's a sharpening, a heightening of your intuition and your connection with your intuitive abilities. Not just that, but more than anything, discernment. You know, when you're listening to your instincts, to your insights, and so forth, when you're, you know, wondering when an opportunity presents itself, like I said, those steps that present themselves doesn't mean that every single step, every single opportunity is going to be the right one or one that will be serving you best at any given moment. So that's where it's applying and aligning, okay, and not necessarily getting too caught up in the details or taking any outright, swift action just yet. All right, let's see what you might need to revisit. Your heart, sweet. The joy, the love, and I'm hearing, just themes around health, healing, happiness, joy, fulfillment. At this point in your life, with all that you have accomplished within how you've grown and evolved as well, as an individual, there's this space for emotional reflection, and looking at the new beginnings that are presenting themselves, looking at the new beginnings that you are in, that you're entering into, and taking that time to absorb and, like I said, reflect. Okay, what truly and authentically brings you fulfillment, and based on where you are, if there is any sort of feeling of lack or any feeling of disconnect or offness, it gives you that time and space to clarify and call in that higher guidance more than anything. And when I say clarify, it's clarify by calling in higher guidance. Okay. All right. Advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah. Keep it practical. Like I said, head in the clouds, feet on the ground. Actionable steps, okay? And stepping, moving, taking action from the heart as it aligns heart and soul. And so, there are times where you may have had to make sacrifices, where you may have had to disconnect from your emotions and from what your heart was really calling you to do, for the sake of whatever, But this time around, you've grown, things are different, you're at a much stronger vantage point in different ways, and you've learned different lessons, etc. And so it's all circling back for you to now reconnect and take action from the heart, and to consider, okay, now that I am in a much more stable position, now that I have, attained some successes in life, whatnot, I can start to integrate and take action in, like on a professional level, for example, where work is concerned, where relationships are concerned. Sometimes we choose the safe route, or we choose what is just more reliable and practical, again, rather than connecting more to the emotion. This is giving you that space to touch back. And it's not about like getting lost and off the rails or anything, but it's seeing how you can kind of have it all in a sense, in your own way, but remembering that it is a journey, and it's nothing is cut and dry in that regard. So it's a nice space to work in. It's a nice space to explore. Okay. What type of downtime is your soul craving? Okay. I don't know why, but I'm hearing options and intuition. So, where you have had or experienced not just any stagnancy, but where there has been difficulty, not just choosing, but deciding, like, what do I really want? What really is going to make me happy in the end? Like I said, there's clarity coming through, because at this point in your life, you're in a much more developed space, or different type of space in your life, to now give that aspect of yourself, that area of your life, or areas, a bit more credence, a bit more of weight in terms of how you go about making your decisions. So in this case, simplifying, right? What type of downtime is you craving? Simplification. Okay. I don't know why, but it's just like taking a load off and letting yourself, like I said, look to the horizon, see what's out there, look to the new cycles, and don't be afraid to choose a path. Okay? Because there's going to be room for development, there's going to be room for change. You know what I mean? You can always change your mind, like, at any point. So don't overcomplicate it, simplify, Libra. All right? And all that being said, check out your moon and rising signs, getting a little bit of extra info on this particular lunar cycle. And visit us, girlinhermoon.com, to schedule a personal session of your own. So have a wonderful full moon, Libra. Till next time. Hey, Scorpio. Kapualani here. I've got your girl and her moon September Pisces full moon reading. Let's see what's ahead, Scorpio. Okay, first up, what do you need to hear from the universe this full moon, Scorpio? I just heard eye on the prize. Where you've been making strides and aligning, clarifying, applying your vision, applying steps, even if it hadn't been with any particular outcome or goal in mind, Scorpio, I feel like this full moon is saying, hey, the efforts that you've been taking on those hobbies, or the efforts that you've been taking, the actions that you've been taking out there, it's actually all adding up to something potentially significant. So it's like, in trusting your intuition and going with the flow and living your life, and it just kind of like following your instincts, Scorpio, there's something significant that you've managed to potentially activate, that you're managing to potentially take into another level, and possibly, if it does, if you want to, maybe even a career path. I don't know. If it's not like necessarily a relationship where it's like, okay, I was just spending a lot of time with this person, and all of a sudden, like, we've really bonded, that kind of thing. There's something where effortlessly and just through pure instinct, You've been spending time, you've been taking the time to engage a certain activity, interest, person, whatnot, hanging out with, doing this, that. Again, you've been building up something there. There's something that's building. There's something that is, you know, getting ready to expand. So let's see what the full moon will be bringing to your awareness. Okay. Okay. Here's this energy of transition. So things are underway. Like I was saying, and you know, for what it's worth, Scorpio, maybe there has been something that you consciously have been focusing on, that you have been sort of hoping to, you know, get going. This is saying, you know, one way or another, things are in process. Okay, so continue to take the steps, continue to go with the flow. There's less effort involved, less thinking. It's kind of like, for example, going back to the hobby thing. If and where you pick up a new hobby, even if it's like, you know, just whatever the case may be, you've never had any experience, it takes a little bit of time, sorry, for you to hit that learning curve, right? I almost get that. It's almost like you've hit the learning curve, and now it's like you can just kind of go out there and effortlessly, you know, engage this hobby, do this thing, like hanging out with a person, you know, you kind of gotten over the getting to know you part, and now it's all just kind of smooth and almost like second nature in a way. So in that case, notice how your life is becoming easier, how things are just naturally starting to flow and open up. All right. So with that being said, what we need to revisit, what you want, what really makes you happy. Okay. Not just that, but I'm hearing also like not getting caught up, carried away, or overwhelmed when things become too much. So notice in advance where there is the potential for things to become too much, too deep, too overwhelming. You know how they say, like, they eventually can have too much of a good thing. So it's like you don't want to deal with too many different mixers on the table or too many cooks in the kitchen. There's something here about, you know, let yourself surrender to the flow and don't make anything more of it. Kind of like, you know, how sometimes, what do they say, idle hands. You just like, you kind of get bored and then you drive yourself crazy, that kind of thing. You're like, restlessness. So there's a space here to really understand where and when you might be getting a little bit, I'm hearing, you know, reverting back to certain states of being that are not exactly conducive to where you want to be, how you want to feel, where you have evolved. You know, I almost like I'm getting like past tendencies or past like shadowy energies or vibes kind of probing and potentially trying to, you know, lure you in a way. So like whether it's just confusion and like pure overwhelm, or just toxic energies, whether it's self-medicating in any which way, that's where you have this opportunity to move on, to recognize and reflect those behavioral patterns and connections that you have overcome and that you've outgrown. So let's get some advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah, the Empress. Nice. Ground and be right where you are. Realize where you want to be. It's like it starts right where you are. You're becoming. Okay. Again, there's something here with the journey opening up. And I feel like part of it is you don't have to question yourself anymore about the choices that you've already made. You've already chosen the path, chosen the, I give it door 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? You already chose your door and your path. Let it go. Stop worrying about what coulda, woulda, shoulda been. It's nice because maybe it's just like I said, this time might be a little bit conducive to going there. But remember, feet on the ground here, you know, ground yourself, nurture and focus on the good that you have. I get the feeling, you know, it's almost like when we forget, like when we've accomplished so much and when we've attained a certain level of success in our life, it's like anything else, right? Things taper off and we forget some of the good that we've gained, or like the things that we purchased, clothes that you bought and you forgot that you had. Go back to your closet and see, like, you may have some things you forgot. Like, there might be some treasures that you may already have. You don't need anything else, okay? Things are already in motion. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to do anything. As you're living and breathing, you are continuing to become. You've already made your intentions known. You already, like I said, chose that door to go through. Now you just need to, like, develop it. You just need to become it. And in fact, there isn't even much to become. Just need to embrace who you are, where you are, and the good that you've already generated in your life. This is just about opening up to the next, journey, and the next level of development, and soul growth and that sort of thing. So really, outside of that, I feel like anything that you can do to enjoy self-appreciation, things about celebrating your home, and just things around the home, and or nurturing, your home space, creating a home space that's a bit more evocative of just soothing, that sacred feminine quality that matches your vibe. Okay, so what type of vacation is your soul craving? Son of Pentacles, yep. Being with where you are, taking things slow. You might be very excited and inspired about what's ahead and what's developing. And so, again, this is the perfect time to really settle into the progress and the steps that you've already taken. This is a time to understand that things are underway. Divine time and order are going to continue to do the heavy lifting as you just live and breathe your way again through the process. So Son of Pentacles, what I really love about the Son of Pentacles is, like, and I use this example sometimes, like when you sit down to a meal, really enjoy it, engage the meal. Don't just like sit and then go. It's when you get to be present to the process, present to what you're doing, because in the act of being present to it, you're also forming like a muscle memory, and a connection to whatever that is. Like when I said a hobby, if there's a hobby that you're engaging or something like that, and that you develop, and suddenly, right, that hobby actually becomes a skill that turns into a career that you make money off of. That's where it's saying, you know what I mean? Slow down a little bit and really be in the process, be where you are. So all that said, Scorpio, check out your moon and rising signs, get some extra insight for this full moon, and visit withusgirlonhermoon.com to schedule your own personal session. So take care. Till next time. Hello, Sagittarius. Hope this finds you doing well. This is Kapualani. I've got your girl and her moon, September Pisces full moon reading. Okay, Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Let's get your message from the universe, Sag. Ace of Wands. All right. So I'm getting like a new, not just new vision, but where you may have been feeling splayed out, just not necessarily distracted, but just not sure where to place your focus or creative energy, if there's been a drain of any type. In this case, it's about a recharge. Okay, so what you need to hear from the universe this particular full moon, take the time to align with your health, I'm getting, with your clarity in terms of your energy levels. Let yourself rest, especially. I get the sense that, sometimes our adrenaline just like kind of keeps us going, but our bodies kind of need to ground and just rest, because you might be channeling a significant amount of energy like around this full moon, during this full moon. Like I just feel this particular Ace of Wands, as it looks like, So in that case, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just be mindful if you happen to feel like really like, ungrounded and things like that. Just breathe and ground, okay? Because I feel, I said, I didn't feel distraction, but it could kind of be a little bit hard to focus, okay? Because you might actually even just have a lot of really great instincts and insights and things coming through. So ground, okay? Slow it down. What will this full moon bring into your awareness? Yep. Wheel of Fortune, the bigger picture that's at hand. And not just that, but I get the sense, for some reason, like the heightened instincts, the heightened energies, but also here, in awareness, a little bit more of an awareness that there's maybe a lot more at hand than what you're able to see right now. With this particular Wheel of Fortune energy here, I get that it's almost like I see this Ace of Wands, like is it called like a spoke or something? No, not these would be the spokes when you spin the wheel, and this is that little ticker where it stops. I feel like you may feel like that, like there's just things are spinning around you, and you're just kind of okay. I'm just gonna stay here and do my thing. It's almost like aligning yourself through chaotic energies, like staying still in the midst of chaos. It benefits you to observe, it benefits you to step away, it benefits you to, I don't know why, but it's like individuate, just be your individual self, align with your independence, be in your own energy bodies. I feel like you know how to do this very well, Sag, in just terms of stepping out and removing yourself from collective craziness, for example, but you have to notice it first so that you can step out of it. All right. So what we need to revisit, yeah, your self assertion, being assertive in some ways, and minding unintentionally combative energies. You may be feeling especially sensitive, and therefore, like, things may feel quite prickly, and you may be a little bit like, in like that being said. So, like I said, withdraw, take a breath, put down the swords, like where you may be quick to think, because like with Sagittarius is very quick in the tongue with like psh, 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 psh. So in this case, I don't even know if we're gonna have like the focus or the energy to go there, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, usually you'd be like, I don't really care, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna tell you like it is, and not in a judgment, but just in terms of asserting yourself. Like, you're not gonna hold back in that way. But in this case, I feel like part of you will like see yourself going, doing that before you go there. And so there's going to be like this shift and being like, no, I'm out. I don't need to be involved in this. I'm out. This isn't worth the fight. This isn't worth the argument. This isn't worth my breath, in that way. And not, again, in any kind of a judgment, but just an understanding that right now there's a lot of crazy things going on. And if you don't even know, like, okay, this feels really weird, it's best just step out. Don't get all mixed into it. Like, just step out, especially where group energy is involved. Okay. Advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah. Focus on the joy. Like I said, step out. I feel like this really brings us into the connection with life and with nature. Okay, life force energies. Focus on the joy. Focus on where you can empower yourself. Focus on what steps you can take that are going to be productive, that are going to be constructive, that are going to be self-empowering. Okay, stay away from conflict and from people that are just not hearing you, babe. Okay, just, it's not worth it. You've got so much. There's so much influx right now. It's real easy to get caught up, like I said, in that group consciousness stuff at times. So where you can, again, forgive me for using this word, but it's very like individuate, step aside, step out, be in the sunshine, focus on the joy, focus on the steps that you can take on, in every day, like be in the present moment and free yourself. Okay. All right. What type of vacation is your soul craving? Yeah. Being around company that will be encouraging of joy, that will be encouraging of good times, like friends who are going to be uplifting and who can acknowledge when, when we're going through down times, but they're there to be supportive and to uplift authentically. We're not there to glaze anything over or not talk about anything, but it's to be in that space of comfort and understanding and a space to emotionally refuel. Okay. So I so often, say water your roots when it comes to this particular Six of Cups card. So that means anything that's going to support your inner child and that connection to your just feelings of safety, security, where you might be feeling vulnerable. So those relationships, even connecting, if it's like a certain comfort food just for, and just healing types of steps, okay? Things that are going to bring joy, things that are going to, again, connect with your inner child, but also be very grounding, and surrounding yourself by people who get you and who you can feel vulnerable with, okay? So, Sag, check out your moon and rising signs, get some extra insights for this particular full moon, and join us girlinnermoon.com. You can see if there's any other way that we can guide and support you. So feel free to schedule a personal session of your own. But otherwise, have a blessed full moon, and thanks so much. Hi, Capricorn. This is Kapualani, and we've got your September Girl and Her Moon Pisces full moon reading here. So Capricorn, let's see what the cards have got. Okay. See what you need to hear from the universe, Capricorn. Three of Pentacles. I don't normally associate the word patience, but that's the first word that I heard. And maybe in this case, it's patience when you're working with others, patience in collaborations, patience in terms of allowing for your efforts to properly come into position, to properly develop, to properly be ready to be brought together, in other words. So there are also connections that may be presenting themselves and or finally ready to implement. Like, I feel this is something that is probably going to be ongoing. If they're people or connections, they're probably people or connections you already know of, but it's almost like the timing of things finally clicking into place. Like, this is that time. And for example, if it's just something that you want to do on your own, but it's about you bringing certain components of things together, this is going to be that time where it just sort of starts to make sense, and or at least it's like I said, that timing for it to come together. So what will this full moon be bringing to your awareness? Vision of the next steps. Yeah. So it's like I said, even if it's, you had an idea of your own of starting something, but it's just for whatever reason, time, space, needs to happen. Again, it's that time. What you couldn't see, the motivation, the inspiration, that readiness to say yes, to activate that, you know what I mean? Those steps, for whatever reason, that's what this full moon is unlocking, okay, in regards to just where you're at in your path. So whatever missing information, whatever was lacking to sort of, get things going, to line things up, to turn that, finally flip that on switch, it's all lining up, okay? What you may need to revisit: past disappointments. Okay, so here's the thing. When you do start to see signs of life, sometimes you're kind of like, because in the past I've been waiting for a bit. So are you sure that this is the right one? Are you sure that this is going to happen this time? Are you sure? Are you sure? That's what I get here with this Eight of Cups in terms of revisitation. So this is kind of like a space for you to really acknowledge those areas where you have been let down, where you did have some hope, but then, okay, it fell through, or just all of those previous shoulda, woulda, coulda been things, I feel. This is going to be a time to like sweep up, clear up, and cleanse, purify, reset, from those broken pieces, from those disappointments once and for all, and to say, you know what, this is a new day, a new beginning. And in this, those new cycles and opportunities are presenting themselves, the developments, the people that we haven't met, that we need to meet, all that good stuff. The signs of life are kicking in, but for us to fully and authentically move forward, it's almost like just kind of clearing out, dusting things off, and all that sort of stuff, and picking yourself up by the bootstraps and saying, no, this is different this time. Okay, so take that time to really kind of settle any of those heavier feelings once and for all, type thing, and just so you can move forward, okay, authentically. All right, advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah, rising above. This is going to be a time where your efforts are definitely, in a space to be acknowledged. So don't hide. Don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to rise to the occasion, if that's the case, and to step out there. And I'm not saying like just putting yourself on the spot or anything, but again, where you have been waiting for the timing to be right, where you've been waiting for, I even feel on some level, Capricorn, like recognition. This is that time for it. You deserve to be recognized for your efforts. You deserve to shine. You deserve to feel validated and rewarded for your efforts, for a job well done, for being a freaking amazing person, if that's the case, under like difficult circumstances, especially. So let yourself move forward with confidence and trust that you've got not just what it takes, but whether it's the skills, whatever needs to be in place, whether it's people, components, whatnot, it's that time. You're ready. Okay. So what type of break is your soul craving? Taking a load off, hanging out with your buddies, your partners. If it where that resonates. Like I said, where there have been letdowns, disappointments, giving yourself a moment to celebrate the small accomplishments, the good things, even if it might not even be that small at all. You know what I mean? Like when you finally come to a place of moving past and healing, really truly healing, and opening up to new cycles, opening up to being vulnerable to joy again, not just like love, but just, you know what I mean, to friendships even. That's special. That's a lot. There's a lot that goes to it with wanting to and willing to be vulnerable and putting yourself out there again in any which way. So in this case, it's really like let yourself celebrate the small things and really take that time to surround yourself by the people who mean the most to you in that way, and not to make it so heavy or whatnot. But again, where you have accomplishments, where it is like you've achieved and accomplished some successes, celebrate them, okay, with the people that matter. So check out your moon and rising signs. You can get some added wisdom for the full moon, as well as our website. Visit usgirlonthemoon.com to schedule your personal session. Okay, so take care. Have a blessed full moon. Hi, Aquarius. I'm Kapualani. We've got your September girl and her moon, Pisces full moon reading. So if you're ready, Aquarius, let's see what we've got here. First up, your message from the universe, Aquarius. Okay, trust in yourself. have confidence in your inner voice, is what I'm hearing. There are energies that are opening up to, feelings of confidence. Like I said that word earlier, forgive me, but I'm thinking of personal feelings of, security, where you may have felt insecure previously. This full moon, I feel like it's going to give you that space to turn things around, where you may have been reluctant or hesitant to follow through in terms of listening to your heart, and or really, I don't know why, but aligning more with your compassionate, vulnerable, emotional side. There's something here where I feel like your emotional, intuitive instincts are going to will be and feel empowering. There's going to be something that I feel is also activating within you in terms of, like, if you've been feeling withdrawn and not like putting yourself out there so much lately, that's again where things may be turning around. You'll feel a little bit more confident and at ease in terms of socializing, or in terms of like where it's necessary for you to like mingle, if it's like in a professional sense or whatever. Okay, it's going to be, there's things that I feel turning around for you, and opening you up more to your sensitive nature. Okay, so let's see what this full moon will be bringing to your awareness. Yeah, that makes sense. That Eight of Cups, the vulnerability and past letdowns, disappointments, heartache, in various ways, like little ways. There are things that I feel, again, because you may be in a space, of your own emotional evolution, your own emotional maturity and growth, where it's a lot, it's a different thing, it's a shift, and I don't want to say it's easier, but in looking back at past disappointments or things that didn't work out, where they really would drag you down before, there's something that's shifting, that has shifted in the way that you manage disappointments, in the way that you move on from things that, even if that just didn't last, even if they were wonderful things, but it's like that you've outgrown, for example. Okay, so this is going to put you into a space again, like I said, vulnerability, connecting more with your sensitive nature. It may feel a bit emotional, because some things, again, there may be some things poking at you, but again, I feel you'll be in the position to really deal with it, and to clear through, and just to heal. So what will you need to revisit? There are really some psychic, intuitive, energy healing things coming up here. There's things about confidence, motivation, and determination, where it comes to asserting and applying yourself to your future goals, and taking ownership of who you are and how far you've come and how capable you truly are. I mean, I don't know if you're giving yourself any not confidence, but having any confidence, giving yourself any credit, Aquarius. Okay. I feel like, it can be really tough for people to connect or relate when we all are so unique, in how we experience and perceive life, that sometimes it can feel like people maybe aren't as sensitive with you or as receptive to you emotionally as you actually are. And so that's what I'm saying. I feel like you're starting to come into understanding and being in a place where you feel more comfortable talking about your emotions and acknowledging and honoring and being with it. So it's going to be easier to sort of move on, and confidently, authentically. And in that case, really see how it's not that anybody's better off or better than anyone else, but just in terms of our love language, and how it helps you to understand what you can tolerate and what just isn't vibing for you anymore, so that you can focus on where you want to be, who you want to become, who you want to be surrounded by, the kind of life and lifestyle that you authentically want to live, you know? So I see a lot of these things kind of coming in to being so that you can really move on confidently and continue to step forward, continue to manifest, you know? So, all right, advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah. Assert yourself. Okay. This may take a bit of focus and it may require you to realize, like I said, because you are air, right? That it can be very distracting when we are sometimes surrounded by certain individuals or sometimes just people at all, because we might be that sensitive, and it's not about anybody. It's like it's a bad thing, but it's understanding your nature and just kind of your priorities at any given time, and so with the 7 of Wands, it could be as simply as how you just kind of like shrug things off and you don't realize how competitive certain people actually are, and like you're not noticing it, so you're not being affected by it, but actually you are being affected by it because you get drained, you get tired, it's hard to focus, you feel a little bit like just reluctant or resistant now to want to pursue a certain goal or direction. It's noticing the company that you keep and who's like energetically, like how people's energies are affecting you, and in how you don't have to surround yourself in things that are just going to be distracting, overwhelming, or unintentionally like kind of bullying, I guess. I don't, that might be a strong word, but just a bit more aggressive, than what you need to be around right now. So I feel like you're really powering up in terms of saying, you know what, I see what's going on and I'm going to head there. So bye. You know what I mean? It's basically just as easy as that. All right. What kind of vacation is your soul craving? Yeah. I just heard sensitivity, grounding, being around the home space, nurturing and supporting yourself, your life, your goals, your dreams in that regard. Knowing that, hey, you know what? It's really volatile right now. People are kind of scattered, a little bit funky right now. No blame. It's just what is. So I'm better off just like doing my own thing, being in my home, in my space, and not just like, oh, staying holed up in the house, but realizing the good that you have already managed to create, that you and develop, maintain and sustain in your own life. And so it's going back to nurturing, supporting, and continuing to maintain and sustain the good that's in your life. And like I said, shutting out and just removing yourself from any distractions, and or just, when you can tolerate a lot, okay? But for you, Aquarius, I know when you're done, you're like, okay, bye, and you're just gone. So that's one of those times where it's just like you're not responsible for like anyone's happiness, anyone's outcome. And, especially where there might be those relationships that are really long standing or to just kind of feel like second nature. But like I said, I feel like you're beyond that. And this is a time to really just honor yourself, your needs, and to celebrate that, okay, Aquarius? So check out your moon and rising signs, get a bit of extra insight for this full moon, and visit us girlundermoon.com to schedule your own personal session, all right? So take care. Thank you so much. Well, hello, Pisces. I am Kapualani, and we've got your girl and her moon September full moon reading. Hope this finds you doing well, Pisces. Okay. So Pisces, let's get your message from the universe. Okay. The Death card. All right. I don't want to just be so obvious in stating this word, that transformation word. But I feel for you, Pisces, because, you have a mutable water sign, and death is kind of like a mutable energy. And so I'm kind of one, it's almost like, I forgive me, forgive me. But if you're feeling like funky, I'm hearing like this wet rag feeling, you know? So like just be aware that it's gonna probably, and we'll see what the other cards reveal, okay? But this is not you, okay? Any feelings of funkiness, stagnation, stuff like that, it's you processing the current energies, transitions, and so forth. You processing the previous cycles and being in that sort of germinate, the turning over, the mulching process. So you might feel, yeah, like I said, a little bit weird, a little bit funky yourself. That being said, okay, let's see what this full moon will bring to your awareness. Like I said, the funkiness, the overwhelm. Yeah, I saw wet rag. What do you usually do when there's like stale, stagnant water and stuff, right? I don't want to just say toss it out, but you gotta cleanse, you gotta flush, circulate. Okay, and not just circulate, but that word cleanse and grounding. So step back, all right, and realize when you might be getting a little mixed up in the group energy, where you might be getting a little bit mixed up in other people's stuff unintentionally, because you care a lot. You're very, very sensitive, and like unintentionally, it's not your fault, but like anything else, I always say with Pisces, or that you can imagine if you drop a rock in the water, if you have waves and ripples, and if you're the fish in the water, you're gonna feel it, right? And so that's where it's about acknowledging your own sort of emotional kind of, not just reactive nature, but when things start to not make sense, when life starts to feel like it's not so real, take a breath, step back. All right. And remember, you don't have to you don't have to push anything forward, especially where everything looks hazy and fuzzy. Sometimes it's best to just take a step back. That's all. Just take a step back and clarify. Get out of your emotional body. And this is the part where it's like, get grounded, get into your mental space in a space of clarity. Okay. So simplify. It will bring up where you may be overcomplicating things, where you may be just, getting too sucked in. Okay, well, you need to revisit. Yeah, the mental space. Okay. There's, collectively speaking, it's going to be pretty in flux for a while, right? And so it's not to say, oh, just sorry, you're gonna have to just suck it, Pisces, but it's being mindful in terms of your mental health and how you are communicating to yourself and how you're perceiving what may be obstacles or not, how you are perceiving your current circumstances. Are you seeing things for what they are, or are you making it harder on yourself? Are you making things worse for yourself because, maybe emotionally, things are not so clear, or emotionally things are feeling kind of funky. So mentally, like, oh God, everything's wrong, one of those types of things. So that's where it's just like, what did I say? Take a step, take a pause. It's not you. You're feeling the weirdness in terms of, like I said, when there's a mulching happening, it's not really comfortable, but you're kind of like, blah, still kind of having to sit in it, So let's get some advice for a smooth full moon. Yeah, focus on not like, oh yeah, just focus on the good, but clarifying what truly and authentically brings you joy with the good that you are surrounded by, right? with all of the accomplishments and things that you've managed to achieve, like anything else, there's an ebb and a flow, and we lose like when you have a dessert. You're not going to want to eat the same things. Except after a while, the joy that it brings, we're like, the satisfaction, it loses its flair. You kind of, I've had enough. I've had my fill. It's one of those things where you can sort of just be with yourself when you take that step back, and when you're wondering, oh gosh, I'm so unhappy, or like, oh gosh, I'm missing something. Something's missing because it's 9 out of 10. It's like there's something missing, potentially. Not that there is, but it's about looking at what you have and saying, you know what, maybe this isn't bringing me the kind of joy that it used to, or maybe this is not authentically providing me with joy when I thought that it would. So maybe I don't need to invest my time, energy, or money into those people, places, or resources anymore. Maybe I can, open up space for something truly authentic to present itself, you know? And rather than like when you're hungry, rather than continue to eat and like, oh, that's not what's making me hungry, but why are you still eating? Like eat something that you really want, that's gonna really satiate you, rather than just kind of feel it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because then that's where it becomes a little bit of a wash and you feel funky. Like you're free to do whatever you want, but you gotta love yourself, So that's where it's saying, if you don't know fully, and if you're not completely aligning, and or if it's like you're not even sure, right? Take a step back. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. It's okay to be okay, is basically what we're saying. Yeah? So that's all. Okay. What type of vacation is your soul craving? There we go. I love this. Yeah, you're ready for the new plumage. You're tired of molting. You're tired of shedding. You're like, I'm ready for the key. I'm ready for the answers. I'm tired of feeling like weird and like, okay, in this limbo. I want the answer. I want to move on. I want to elevate. So, in that case, right, listening to your higher self, noticing when your emotions and when your mental space are clouded or reactive or just not quite clear. I don't want to say downright negative, but just, you know what I mean? It's not feeling like you. And when you're not sure again what's going to make you happy, what you want, what it is that's like bothering you, tune in, go to your higher voice. And not just that, but if it's like, Kapualani, why do you think I would go to you? If that's the case, seek out that guidance where you don't have, because it could be something related practically to work. You know what I mean? And just maybe not knowing what the best direction, what the best answer, whatever will be. So in that case, go to that right resource, that right guide, that right connection, whether it's your higher self or it is an actual living, breathing human being, guide, mentor, whatever the case may be. There is a space for you to, receive some type of insight, wisdom. There's a space for you to act, to apply yourself, and or to connect, like I said, with someone, something, some information to help clarify and refine things. So visit us, girlundermoon.com, to schedule your own session. Don't forget also to take a look at your moon and rising signs for some added insight. And have a blessed full moon, Pisces. Take care. Until next time.